This is glass.
It is. It's glass fiber. I'm going to get right to the point here. As I get ready to build a new board, I thought I'd reflect on some of my learnings from this first attempt at a paddleboard. One of the big issues with building a paddleboard by hand and with not a lot of knowledge of what you're doing is it's very easy to end up with a heavier board than you expect. And so that's what happened here. I ended up with a 70-pound board. It's a big board. It's 12 foot, 6 inch, fairly wide. I think it's almost 200-liter volume, so it's fairly buoyant. For beginning paddlers and for new paddlers, I think it's a very good board. But just realize that as you continue with the board and anything you put into it, you're going to have to lift every time you pick it up. And I think that's just something to consider. So keep it well designed. Only put strength where you need the strength. Top deck where you're standing obviously needs more support than it would elsewhere on the board, where you're not going to see those kind of forces. So, but everything adds up. The frame, the wrap, the glass, 17 pounds of glass, and epoxy. You really only need enough epoxy to fill the weave of the glass. So here you can see it's just one coat of epoxy, and then it needs at least one or two more just to fill the weave so it becomes invisible. So that's sort of what you're doing here is gently filling it, and then you have to scrape because you end up with more epoxy than glass, and you need to level that out. And these are just all the handles and the vents. This is a hollow board, so it needs to be vented. The interior gets very hot in the sun, so it needs a place for the air to escape, otherwise you'll pop your board. So that's what this is here. So you can also put in Gore-Tex vents, which will allow air out but not allow water in. Storage is going to be an issue, at least it was for me. Your board ideally needs to be in a cool, dry place out of the direct sunlight. Garages are great for that, but it's going to take up valuable space on your wall or on your floor, so consider that. Inflatable boards seem to have the advantage that you can just deflate them and roll them up somewhere, so consider one of those if you're not completely sold on building one yourself, or if you just want to get out on the water. When I built this, I had never actually been on a paddleboard before, so my first paddleboard adventure was on this board that I built. So I didn't know what I was getting into, but that's kind of how I like to roll. So you may want to do some research before. So hull volume is something to think about when you build this. Are you beginning paddleboarder, are you intermediate? Do you favor buoyancy and stability over maybe weight and speed? It's just think about that. This particular hull shape is a planing hull where you ride over the waves rather than through it. A displacement hull is another type of paddleboard, more like a kayak where you tend to go more in a straight line. They will do better on flat water. They'll go faster on flat water. Maybe there's a possible stability issue with the narrower displacement hull boards. They tend to be longer. They might be a 14-foot board rather than a 12.5-foot one like this one. So consider that. So shape of hull, displacement as well, or the volume of the hull. So this is, again, almost a 200-liter volume, which is pretty buoyant, but it's not just the volume that would make it more stable. The height of the deck above the water also has an effect. So the wider the board with a lower deck, actually closer to the level of the water, is a more stable board than a higher deck with a narrower board. So just keep that in mind as well. If you want the most amount of stability, a wider board is a good choice with plenty of buoyancy. Well, I hope this helps. If you have any comments or suggestions or similar experiences building a paddleboard, please comment below. Happy paddling.